G'day and welcome back for more Survival Impossible. And I've got my welding car here, and I've got my train, which is considerably modified from when you last saw it. And that is because I think I've made it better. I think I might have almost made it good. That's how confident I am in this. I think it's almost good. What I've done, obviously, is move the cockpit from being mounted in the middle of the car to mounting it at the front. Because at the front makes so much more sense. I think the only reason that I hadn't put it at the front initially was because I kind of needed, well, I thought, to have a cockpit up here that was separate to the build cockpit, but I don't, because as you can see, I have a cockpit that points forward. And if I hop into the cockpit, and we're going to use spectator cam here because the third person view is so far out, because I'm part of the station, and then I can press this button. And I can turn around and face so I can build the track. And if we look at this in first person, it's going to be bouncy and jittery. And I really hope that that is less of a problem once I'm on the rail. But I can actually build from this cockpit. If I press Control G, oh, there we go. You can see. Block should be able to place onto that track. And if I want to be able to build further out, Ow! Okay. I'm stunned I survived that. But I might not survive the run to try and get some oxygen. This could be tight. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Run, 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 run. Run to here, run to here, run to here. Okay. Okay. I have oxygen. That was surprisingly not deadly. I don't know how. Of course I dropped out. Of course. I'm such an idiot. I didn't fold myself back in when I got out of the cockpit. The cockpit's now sticking out over the nowhere, isn't it? It is. Alright. Yep. I deserved that. That was my own doing. Anyway. As you can see, I have a cockpit that's working. And I'm going to run all the way back up to it and hopefully be able to retract it so I can show you the other things I set up for it. And one of the things I'm going to do before I get back in there is I'm going to build a vent on it so I've got oxygen. Because that's really annoying. Starting out with almost dying. Of course. Of course. And it's entirely my own fault. Can't even blame an NPC. Alright, this is going to be probably temporary. So I don't actually know where I want to put this vent. So I'll just put it here. Okay, so that should put some oxygen in that cockpit, which I can get back in. Oh, why is that bouncing so much? Does one of these hinges not have much torque? It doesn't. It's still very bouncy. So yeah, here we go. So I have a deploy, I have a retract, and it, I think, moves really nicely. Like, look at that. It's not perfectly timed, but I think part of that is actually jiggle. The timing could be a little bit better and a little bit tighter so that it's, you know, a single movement, but I'm pretty chuffed with that. So we can deploy out, and then I can use my pistons to deploy further if I want to. So if I want to be building more track before I move out, I can go, let's move 1 meter per piston further. Let's move 2 meters further. Let's move back right to 0. Because I've got my piston controls set to go to specific extensions at 0.5 meter per piston per second. And then, the thing that I think is quite cool about this setup is that I might actually be able to use it to make the pylons too. Since it's hanging off the front, if I build the pylons of the support while I'm adding the next block on the track, I can do this to achieve it. And I can use a pair of hinges to move me down. So now, if I go back to first person, you can see I'm actually at the height of the rail. And if I drop this even further, I could probably, in a lot of situations, get down to near ground height, especially if I extend the pistons out, because I'm now actually fairly low down, which I think is kind of cool. Oh, this is very unpleasant inside, though. Very unpleasant. I might end up having to use a bit of spectator camera to not make you all sick. And maybe myself as well. I'm probably going to fall out of the cockpit if I get out in this position. So I'm going to turn around. And I'm going to hop out and hope that I'm on the platform. Yeah. Good. So, obviously getting into the cockpit from here, not great. Nor really from all, like, anywhere up there on the train. So what I'm probably best off doing is adding some sort of platform around it. And I kind of want to add the platform anyway, because I want to be able to get in and out of the cockpit in a position where I can then use build vision to modify settings on a hinge. So if I've just placed a hinge on the rail, I want to be able to stand next to the cockpit and use that. So what I might... So I think one of the things to do here would be to set up similar controls to the cockpit, but on a little set of controls here. I've tried a few things to alleviate the jiggle. I've got various shared inertia tensors and things like that. I don't think the jiggle is going to be fixed until I'm not connected to the base, though. I even tried a trick that I never use, which is an overridden gyroscope, and it actually made it worse. I think it just put the wrong mass in the wrong place and the wrong forces. It didn't go well. Alright. Now I probably... Yeah, I'll just set up a temporary... Again, a temporary set of buttons. I quite like the console module buttons for small grid, because we get 3 buttons. And I constantly forget that they exist in small grid. But it's really quite nice for having 3 buttons in a smaller space. It's 50% more button! It is a bit bigger, but it is 50% more button. So, we can now go... Groups... Train... And I want... Yeah, this. Reverse. So if I hit that button now, the cockpit should go into place. And I can also deploy it from here, but I mainly wanted to bring that back because now I can try and figure out where is best to have some sort of platform on it. If we have a look from above, in this position I've got space on both sides of the cockpit, but when I'm in the deployed position, I don't really have space on the right-hand side of the cockpit. Unless, let's flip back out, the thing that's on the right-hand side of the cockpit is... Ooh. Yeah, maybe not even. The cockpit's kind of at the same height, isn't it? Or is it a block lower? Oh no, the bottom of the cockpit's a block lower. So yeah, I can put a floor under there. I just can't put any sort of rail on it. Okay, cool. Let's bring you back, and I'm going to add some barred windows. I think for these I'll start underneath. As it'll mean I can have something that goes a bit behind the cockpit and still looks okay because it's still attached to the cockpit there. Alright, how does this look? So I've got a few blocks hanging out the side off to the right. But if I flip this around, I then no longer have a place to stand. I could adapt this slightly by changing some of the angles on the hinges so that instead of this line going almost perfectly straight with the train, it could go more off to the right, which would then clear some space, but I don't think I would clear enough space for the, well, for the engineer to fit there. So I don't think that's going to work well enough. What I have to do is add more stuff off to the left side of the cockpit, which when we're in the retracted position, might end up looking a bit weird. Because it's going to be much wider than the train, but I guess as long as it's not wider than the welders, it should be fine. And I kind of think it just has to be. I need somewhere to stand. Construction priorities. Alrighty, how does this look? I've got a bit of a sort of a cage here now. I jump across. Can't walk out this way. I can get in the cockpit, get out of the cockpit, get in, flip around, and I really hope this is going to be properly relative to the cockpit because this is always scary, but it should be fine because I do this on this platform all the time. Get out of the cockpit. I can now mess with settings on things, hop back in. I don't need to worry about having any sort of bottles or like oxygen filling, but it would be nice So I wonder where I could fit it, because the reason why it'd be nice to have oxygen bottle filling here is that sometimes I might want to be out here standing for a while and I don't want to have to get in, fill my oxygen, hop back out repeatedly. Maybe I want to be able to fill my bottles up. So if I want to do that, I think I need to mess with the conveying on the back of this cockpit, because I kind of need to have the tank there so I can access the port on it, which means I need to cut this bit on the back there and turn it into a little loop around. Do I actually need this bit that sticks onto the right? I feel like maybe I do, because what I can use it for is this, where I flip around, hop out, and now to get back on the train, instead of needing to have a little side access here, I can actually walk under there, which is probably going to get super annoying, and then hop back on the train over here where I can have more straightforward access. The danger, I guess, of keeping this section just for access is that I go and I get in the cockpit, flip it around, and then try and get out, and forget and fall. And I feel like that's a fairly high-risk thing. So maybe I do just get rid of this bit on the right. We just have this bit on the left of the cockpit. That's the only bit. Trying to think if there are any other times when I might need that platform. I just don't think there is. So yeah, nope, I'm gonna get rid of it. Which actually makes the whole thing a lot easier and more streamlined in shape. I'll just have to have a narrow path along the side here, which I think could look kind of cool, because it gives me more reason to use these the hazard stripes in small areas, and that's where they work best. Uh-oh. Oh, didn't get hurt. Good. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it works quite well. Can I make it a block longer, or is it then going to collide with this? That is the next question. Can I get away with these? So I kind of wouldn't mind making it just a touch longer. The bigger it is, the safer it feels. And with spectator, because of the jiggles and the ridiculous zoom. Yeah, that looks good. Looks pretty safe. Cool. Alright, so next step. Put access along the side of the train, so then I can start building in the details of the bogies. I can start building just more stuff onto this. I'm not sure what else I really need on the train, and I'm also not sure how much more I need to build while I'm in this jiggly horribleness. I'll do a bit more, but if I can't think of anything soon, I am almost certainly going to just drop this onto the rail and see if that reduces how much it's jiggling down that end. Because if it doesn't, then, oh man, what am I going to do? I can't really change the plans much at this stage. The only other thing I could possibly do is have two cockpits. One that's mounted out, like fixed to the actual carriage itself. Have one that's facing forward, one that's facing backwards, and hope that I can build enough from the fixed one. I really don't have any other ideas. It's not as bad standing on it, but it is still pretty bad. Actually, no, it's just as bad standing on it. I take that back. Yeah, I've got to finish off all these bogies before I drop this. That's what I do have to do, and I want to finish off all this lower down stuff, because that's going to be a lot easier to build. Although, no, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it will all be fine, because I do have below track height here. You know what? Let's drop it. I'm going to drop it now. Let's slowly clear this way with hopefully not falling to the ground. Gonna have to rebuild a lot of the scaffolding, but this will also allow me to build a connector for this setup so that I've got a way to charge this and transfer the materials to it. I need to make sure I add the extra bits of rail here. Can I do it from the cockpit? Can we do a semi-test before I move it on the rail? Oh, but I should not be jumping across that without anything below. There's a terrifying gap. Ooh. Ooh. Why am I doing this? Okay, hop in, turn around. I can see down there. Control G, press G, find blast doors. Now it's snapping to the right thing. Rotation, place, and place. And then we swap back out. Extend out a bit. Back to the tool. Place and place. That swapping back and forth is possibly going to be a bit of a pain in the backside, but if I'd swapped out at first, I probably could have placed a few anyway. Because I can place quite far out, thanks to build info. I think it extends it, or maybe it just makes it modifiable. I can't remember. But yeah, I can place decently far out because they are large grid as well. Cool. All right. Bring this back. Oh, hang on. Let's go back out and see if I drop this down. Can I place a couple more? No. It's right in my face. Okay, never mind. Spin around, retract, and hop out. Yeah. Now we have enough track for the train to actually sit on. Let's continue removing this scaffolding to get it dropped down. Because I really want to see if this jiggle is gone. Please let the jiggle be gone. It's going to be another climb out onto the cockpit. I just realized before I do anything here, what I should have set up is the ability... where's safer? Probably up here is safer. The ability to put the handbrake on. Okay, so we go bogey, we grab all the remote controls. Bogey remotes. I think I can do this with a group. And we go handbrake on. So now the handbrake is on all of those bogies. And that should make me safer. And please let me get out on top of the cockpit. Yes, good. The reason I'm terrified each time with getting in and out of that cockpit is just how much it's jiggling. Because if it jiggles in the wrong way, maybe the calculations for is this space occupied on exit of the cockpit will get messed up. So I'm worried every time while it's the way it is that that's what's going to happen. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's nice and clear. Now those ramps that I've got, are any of them in the way of the bogies? That one is. Okay, so given these are wheels, if I can make sure that all of the bogies are perfectly set on 0, angle-wise, I should just be able to drop it. You know what? 3, 2, 1, bonk. Hey, how'd it go? Are we on the rail? Looks like we're on the rail. It is jiggling about a fair bit. Think possibly because these wheels are contacting these supports here. Feel like that might be part of the problem now. Got clearance under the rail for those bits. Looking good. And look at that. This bit here for the cage is almost at the perfect height for the platform. Very nice. Okay, I have to do a thing. I gotta try and build some. Let's give myself a bit of test track. Oh, hang on. No, before I do that, I need to get a programmable lock on there. Because I need to run the subgrid wheel control script. Maybe I'll have to go the half width, even though it's not quite as much support surface as I was after. It's still going to leave quite a gap, which makes me nervous. I'm going to have to do something to make that a bit safer. I will put some safety net under here, just in case I fall out. At least I don't fall all the way down to the ground, even though sometimes falling onto voxel is safer. Okay, up across. Oh dear. I don't think the subgrid wheel control script is liking me right now. Or am I colliding with something? Maybe I'm colliding with something. Something here is not right. Ow. Oh. That might be contributing. Maybe. Also, these wheels are probably running into that block there. So, if I want to make that safer, but if I want to still have that for safety, I could possibly turn them into slopes, which would get them out of the way, but still provide me some degree of you're not going to fall down quite so far. Oh, it also means I can walk under the rail. That's quite helpful. Alright, so let's clear a bit of space for these side wheels. And then I don't know why my remote controls aren't providing me the ability to lock. I'd be interested if you guys have any theories. My suspicion is that it's the subgrid wheel control script blocking it somehow. But I don't know how it would do that because it hasn't done it in the past. That's what's weirding me out about it. In the past, that really hasn't been a problem at all. Scaffold block? I think scaffold's what I want. Need to put something under here that I can walk through. Because obviously these slopes don't have an attachment point, so I need to attach to the bottom of the rail with something like that. Hopefully it's not going to be enough of a problem for the wheels to pass, so I can still walk down here and walk across. And now I can easily walk onto the rail. Now is the rail attached in another spot before I go and do something stupid? It is not. Let's try and avoid the stupid then, shall we? Okay. Rail now has another attachment. Oof, that could have been so bad. Maybe this will work this time. The lack of a park brake is kind of terrifying me. The only thing that's making me not as gun-shy about it as I probably should be is the fact that the train doesn't want to move at all right now. But once the train does want to move, I'm in trouble. Oh, there she goes. It moves. Let's try this building. So if I flip myself around. Go to first person, horrible shakiness, sorry. I wonder if I can do some post stabilization to this. I'll have to give it a go. Okay, now if I go Control G and I rotate the block, we place there, then we drive backwards, place, or for straight sections, this is going to be super quick. Look at this. How good is that? Now, before I continue, I'm going to press F8. I'm going to see if I can build from spectator. A cheeky way to stabilize this. If I press F9 and press Control G. No, I can't. Okay. We're going to have to figure out how I can make this cockpit more stable. I mean, ignoring the jiggling, this is going really, really well. I can place out a straight section of track super quickly. Oh, okay. We have things not working, so if I hop out of the cockpit, bring a block in hand, hop back in, bring the block back, and we can see it again. Yay! So if I switch to control mode, I can drive along this rail, and my train has started working, which is really, really quite cool. As I mentioned, I have tried gyroscopes on the cockpit to try and stabilize it, to stop this jiggling a bit. Has not worked. I'm not sure what else to try. What are these hinges set to? They're not set to share inertia tensor. They are locked though. What if I unlock the ones in between the cars? No. I mean, this is always a problem with when I build cranes. We always end up with a bit of, I always end up with quite a bit of jiggle on the end of the crane. I haven't yet found a way to stabilize it properly, which is a significant pity. But wow. Look at that. That's really quite cool. Oh, I think I've got something that might be able to make this better. I think I do. If I... Oh, that looks weird with the pistons extended. Ah, yes, okay. I've still got the cars locked to each other with that landing gear, so there is still a bit of phantom force going on. I wonder if that's making the jiggle worse. So if I drive back to the station, now I'm going to have to be careful not to smash this into the station as I come back in. I don't really have... I'm going to have a camera back there. or a second control seat. I think having a control seat in each direction makes a lot of sense. Come on, gentle, gentle. Separate wheel control script doesn't really do gentle very well. Okay, so let's get rid of that bit and see if that helps it out. Hopefully will. So we've got our hinges. Both carriages are supporting their own weight now, so I should be able to remove those pistons and those landing gear, and hopefully that'll make some difference here. Because it is the one that's on the end of that landing gear that's the problem. I don't know if that's better or worse. It's definitely different. I don't know if better or worse. Let's get rid of this. Still feels very jiggly. Okay, those bits gone. Yeah, look. I might just have to deal with this and accept it for what it is. This world is... There are aspects of this world that are being pushed quite a long way. And some of the outcome of that is that things bounce. But honestly, I've seen this bounce whenever I've had this many subgrids. And I don't think there's much I can do about it. If you do know of anything else to try, we've tried the gyros, I've tried share inertia tensor, I've tried it in various different settings on the different things. At the moment, it is most stable when everything has share inertia tensor. In fact, I could test if it made it any better if I add these ones as well. I hope this doesn't explode. Yeah, it didn't really make much difference. Still. Working train. Jiggly train, but it's a happy jiggle. Let's call it a happy jiggle. The happy jiggling train that is ready to go print off a whole bunch of rail. Yeah. Oh man. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is figure out that connector. And once the connector's figured out, I can load this up with some steel plate and test out the welding apparatus outside the station. I strongly suspect that whatever I build as a connector setup here is going to be temporary, but we'll see. In fact, yes, it's absolutely going to be temporary, isn't it? There's basically no way I can make this permanent because I just don't know how the rest of this station is going to go together. So for the connector on the train, I'm thinking I have the connector mounted just on the train like this, like just a connector block on there, nothing else. And it's the station that's actually going to reach out and lock to that connector. The reason I'm going to do that is I think I should be able to have, this way, fewer subgrids on the train, which would be good. Because if I want to reduce this jiggle, I'm afraid I'm going to need to get rid of my thing at the front here that really makes me happy, even though it is jiggling. I'm going to leave it there for now, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to lose it and go to a simpler setup. Something where I've just basically got a fixed cockpit that faces backwards that I build from. Which is sad, but it is just, you know, sometimes you got to accept these realities rather than fighting them too hard. So if you fight them too hard, you just end up disappointed. So what I'll do is grab a couple of conveyor tubes, and I think I'll just put them straight on the sides here. And then I'll build a temporary setup on the base, which can hook up to this. And it is definitely going to be temporary because this is going to be a station, and I don't really have, because I didn't ever get around to getting rid of those solar panels, don't really have the space to put down a permanent connector. So I don't know where it needs to be. So we'll just go temporary. It'll be fine. We'll go here, I think. Is that going to work? Probably not, no. Need to go further back. No, it needs to be further back so that I can fit the double hinge. Plus some extra connection pieces. Put one of these guys on here. That's going to give me some attachment points. Then, in fact, I shouldn't need anything more than this. I should just be able to go straight from that to a connector. A couple of conveyor frames and then connector on there. Oh, no, that's too far. Single conveyor frame, I think, is smarter. I was going to put a pair of hinges on here, but the height's so good that I don't really need to. Oh. Yep, I just thought of a better idea. This is too simple. I've got such a better idea. I'm going to build this below the height of the platform. and it's gonna snake its way up or rotate its way up using a rotor. I need to make sure though, wherever it sits when it's in its packed away position, it does not get in the way of those welders, which means it needs to sit fairly far in. How do I do that? I have the idea, but I do not have the implementation yet. Need to have a junction to start from. And, oh, yeah, that could work. And I need it to be able to fold away. But it doesn't strictly need to be a connector that's mounted all the way back here. I can have it mounted along here where it connects up. That's going to be a bit annoying to some extent because the connector shouldn't be too annoying. I was thinking it's going to be annoying because it'll make it difficult for me to get off the train, but I should be building my catwalk to allow myself to walk down the train so I don't jump from there onto the platform and hurt myself all the time. So my health is slowly dropping with thanks to that.
Energy
Alright,
low.
so if we go conveyor here, then we go hinge, then we go change to medium head, then we go advanced rotor. So when it's stowed away, it should be like this. When it deploys, this one goes out, this one goes up, and then this one rotates that upwards. Maybe? Let's let's see if this can actually pack away. So I may not have planned this out correctly. I think I did. I do want a junction because I want some attachment points, but do I need it to be a junction? I think I do. Yeah. I want some little attachment points so that I can put event controllers and action relays on this, because I want to be able to put those in place so that there's a system for locking and unlocking this. Let's make this look a little bit tidier. Alright, let's see how stupid I've been. So this rotor will allow that connector to get into position. Correct. Then, to fold this away such that it's not going to run into that. Is that even possible? I don't think so. Because what I'm wanting to do is flick that over, but by then it's going to run into that bit, pushing the train out of the way. Yeah, it can't fold towards me. It'd have to fold the other way, which doesn't work. Nuts. But you can kind of see what I was going for here. These double hinges would then allow this to move fully into this space, which gets it out of the way of the train. But I don't actually need that because I just need it to get out of the way at that correct height. Alright, another plan. That one didn't work. That was a rather harrowing thing to have to do. Trying to get onto this. It's always... Oh! Oh! I'm running back to my survival kit this time. I'm getting my health back. Oh! I was just trying to move the train back into position because I pushed it out of the way with that connector. Oh, man. So what I'm thinking of doing is having like a multi-stage thing that is on rotors that sort of spins itself up into position. Kind of unfolds itself like it's a coil unrolling sort of thing. See if I can make that work. After I get some health, so that if I fall off again, I'm a little bit less likely to die. Since I'm in here, I have been thinking about these plants and how I haven't done anything with them since I first put them in. And there's a reason for that. I'm hesitant to get too excited about doing too much with that when Keenan mentioned that they're adding their own food to space engineers. Because if they're adding that, of course I'm adding it to this save. I mean, yeah. And then then it'll be kind of vanilla, the survival in this. So I may well switch completely just to Keen's vanilla implementation of that at that point. So I'm hesitant to get too much more involved in messing around with VSE until I see what Keen's options are and whether I want VSE because it's harder. VSE being vanilla survival experience, the mod that I'm using for the food and stuff, or whether I just go with Keen's stuff and maybe try and do something with their stuff up in space. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I don't know how close we are to having any of that stuff. I feel like they tease these updates a few months in advance, so it's probably a little ways off, but I've definitely been wrong before on that. It's a long way to climb up. I really need another route. I'm having to go through the whole building. I need like I need some sort of... Oh, maybe I could put a stair in the no man's land zone inside there. That could at least be one option. Anyway. Let's get this thing working. So... I'll be back when I've come up with an answer to this problem. Alrighty. Think I have a system. Let's check. If I press this button... Blam. Oh, is that colliding? Yes. Well... it's almost out of the way of the train. Oh... I need to get rid of this bit. Can I get rid of that bit? Can I? I think I can. So what I need is probably this rotor to move a bit more slowly. So the other one gets almost, like kind of get close to the bottom before this one fully does its rotation. And similarly, this needs to go slower. Right, so if we hit the button now. Yay! It's tidy. I am probably going to have to set up timer blocks that set these things to specific speeds rather than me just hitting reverse, which is what I'm doing right now. Because when I hit reverse going the other way, it's not going to be happy, as you can tell. So reverse doesn't work, but the concept is functional. It does get out of the way. It is hidden below the platform. That makes me happy, so I can make that work. Cool. And with that done, I think that's all I have time for today, because I've messed with subgrid so much and rebuilt things so many times that I used up all my time. And I had to record this today. So, next week, I think I'm going to start printing some rail. Like, I've got the connector, I can hook up, I can load up with some steel, and I'm going to start building this thing. And I'm going to probably spend a bit of time doing some more decorative stuff. I added a bit of the catwalk here just because I was sick of injuring myself literally every single time I went along there. Probably should have finished welding off the other bit on the cockpit. If you guys, as I've said, have any ideas about things to stabilize this more, let me know. If it can't be made stable, I will do a fixed rear-facing cockpit that's stuck out far enough in front that I can still place the track at a decent pace. I think, even though you can see that this train is jiggling, I think that jiggle goes away when I get rid of these subgrids. So if I can't come up with a solution, I will get rid of it and I'll go back to something more basic. It'll have to be offset from the rail so that it doesn't get in the way of the rail as I'm reversing back in. So there's going to be some trickiness with that needs to be done, but yeah, if I have to, I will get rid of all these subgrids, even though I love the way that this thing retracts and extends. I'm always so happy when I see things moving in these almost organic ways like this. I just love it. It feels so good. I just wish I could get it to behave a bit more stably than it does right now, because there ain't no way I'm there are just so many people who are going to get motion sick with this thing. So yeah, there's all that and plenty more to come. And I will see you then. Whee! spinny back, spinny forward, spinny back, spinny forward, spinny back.